Welcome back, sacred soul attuned to the quiet pulses of the cosmos. I'm Luna Celestine, and if these words have found their way to you in this exact moment, know this: it is no coincidence. This is a gentle calling from the universe, whispered between realms, urging you to listen before the sun officially enters Gemini. You may have heard that Gemini season is a time for connection, conversation, and playful expansion. And while that is true on the surface, I'm here to offer a deeper perspective. One that speaks to those who don't just study the stars, but feel them move through the body, through the nervous system, through the invisible fields of energy that surround us all. If lately you've been feeling drained after simple conversations, overstimulated in social spaces, or even emotionally scattered without any clear reason, you are not alone. You're not falling apart. You're tuning in. Gemini is an air sign. Fast, clever, and constantly in motion. But for the spiritually sensitive, this shift can feel less like lighthearted interaction and more like energetic static. The thoughts, words, and emotional frequencies of others can begin to swirl around you, flood you, even drown out your own inner voice. If it's felt lately like you're trying to hold your own note while 100 other voices play in the background, you've already felt what's coming. And that isn't weakness, that's spiritual precision. So I'm here to tell you something you won't hear everywhere else. Now is not the time to lean in. It is the time to step back. Not out of fear, not out of isolation, but out of reverence for your own frequency. This isn't withdrawal, it's recalibration. The noise of the world is getting louder, but your truth can only rise in the stillness. In the next part of this message, I'll guide you through why silence will become your sacred ally during this Gemini transition, and how you can turn this inward pull into a powerful alignment with your intuition, creativity, and soul path. Stay with me. What you're feeling is not disconnection. It is a divine invitation to return, fully and deeply, to yourself. Isolation is not weakness, it is spiritual alignment. When the energy of Gemini intensifies, it doesn't just stimulate conversation or invite mental play. It amplifies thought forms, accelerates emotional transmissions, and stirs invisible undercurrents that many don't even know they're swimming in. For those who are empathic, intuitively open, or simply energetically sensitive, this influx can feel overwhelming, like standing in a crowded room where every whisper, every glance, every unspoken tension presses against your aura all at once. Your system isn't malfunctioning, it's responding, and it's doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect your inner field from chaos it didn't consent to absorb. You are not antisocial. You're not broken, disconnected, or cold. You are simply operating on a different frequency, one that can no longer pretend not to notice the static that others have learned to tune out. Your need for solitude is not a flaw. It is a sacred recalibration, a resetting of the subtle systems that keep you connected to your intuition, your soul, and your sense of truth. Most people navigate their day unconsciously, absorbing what doesn't belong to them, then wonder why they feel foggy, fatigued, or emotionally heavy. But you're sensing it in real time. You're catching the distortion as it enters. And that awareness requires space. The world may tell you to stay present, stay social, keep engaging. But there is great strength in stepping back when your spirit calls for stillness. This isn't avoidance, it's discernment. And the more sensitive you become to energy, the more vital it is to honor the moments when your system says not now. Isolation in these times is not withdrawal. It is an intelligent, intuitive act of preservation, a sacred pause that allows you to hear what the universe is saying directly to you, beneath the noise, beneath the roles, beneath the performance. So if you've been canceling plans, craving quiet, or suddenly needing space with no logical explanation, trust that instinct. You are not pushing life away. You are drawing closer to the life that is truly yours, one breath, one boundary, one clear moment at a time. Gemini is not merely the sign of conversation. It is the sign of energetic transmission. During Gemini season, communication transcends words. It slips beneath the surface of language and moves through the invisible pathways that connect us all. Thoughts become faster, yes, but they also become contagious. Emotions don't just express through facial expressions or tone of voice. They radiate, carrying frequency, momentum, and meaning, even when left unspoken. And for those who are spiritually attuned or empathic by nature, this shift can feel like an energetic flood. You begin to pick up on people's moods before they speak. You sense tension when no one acknowledges it. You walk into a room and, without a single word exchanged, you already know something has changed, and it lingers in your chest like a note held too long. There is a reason you've been feeling scattered, like your thoughts don't quite sound like your own. It's because, in this season, your mind becomes more porous, your boundaries more permeable. You're not imagining it. You're not suddenly forgetful, anxious, or distracted without cause. You are absorbing energy that doesn't belong to you, catching fragments of conversations you were never a part of, carrying emotional static that has nothing to do with your own path. And the most disorienting part is that it happens silently. No arguments, no messages, just the sheer presence of others, their unspoken worries, suppressed frustrations, secret longings, all flowing into your field as if you had asked for them. This is the hidden side of Gemini's brilliance, its ability to open channels so wide that energy can move without effort, without permission, without protection, if you are not conscious of it. What feels like mental fog is often just a buildup of borrowed frequencies. What feels like emotional confusion is the residue of someone else's story brushing up against your spirit. And if you felt like you can't track your center lately, like your internal compass keeps spinning even when you're trying to be still, this is why. You are not broken. You are simply too open in a time when boundaries must be sacred. To navigate this, you don't need to harden. You don't need to isolate forever. You simply need to pause and reclaim what is yours. Silence becomes your shield. Solitude becomes your sorting ground. In the quiet, the foreign thoughts fall away. The noise softens. And your true voice, the one you haven't heard clearly in days, begins to rise again, steady, clear, and unmistakably your own. Energetic overload is real, and your body knows it long before your mind can make sense of it. During seasons of heightened air energy like Gemini, your nervous system becomes the first point of contact. The body, governed by breath, by signal, by subtle tension, begins to react to the invisible noise around you. That tightness in your chest that comes out of nowhere, the trembling in your hands after a day spent around others, the restlessness at night that no amount of tiredness can soothe. These are not random symptoms. They are messages. They are your system saying, this is too much. Not because you're weak, not because you're anxious, but because you are highly responsive to energetic input. When the air is thick with unspoken emotion, with mental static, with everyone else's internal chaos bleeding into the atmosphere, your body becomes a radar. And that radar, when overwhelmed, sends signals that something needs to shift. This is not ordinary anxiety. It's not a mood disorder or a failure of resilience. It's energetic exposure. It's what happens when you stay plugged into timelines, conversations, and environments that are out of resonance with your own field. You don't have to hear someone speak to absorb their energy. You don't need a conflict to feel a rupture. You just need to be near. And in that nearness, if you're not intentional, you begin to carry what was never yours to hold. That's why silence is not just a comfort right now. It is a spiritual tool. When you choose not to speak, not to explain, not to fill the space with noise just for the sake of participation, you are not disappearing. You are tuning in. You are listening to what others miss. You are receiving the undertones, the contradictions, the unspoken truths vibrating beneath surface-level words. Silence makes you a mirror. It unsettles those who rely on performance to feel safe. When you sit in stillness, others feel seen. Not because you said something, but because they know you noticed everything they tried to conceal. This power is not about control or judgment. It is about presence. It is about depth. In a world addicted to constant reaction, your ability to hold your energy, to observe without absorbing, to witness without needing to respond, that is a rare and sacred gift. Don't let anyone mistake your silence for absence. You are more present than ever. You are simply choosing to move through the world on a different frequency, one that values discernment over distraction, essence over noise, truth over performance. And in this Gemini season, that choice will become your greatest strength. There comes a moment in every season of deep energetic shift where the most courageous thing you can do is step back. Not to hide, not to escape, but to realign with the rhythm of your soul. In a world that constantly praises visibility, performance, and presence, choosing to withdraw can feel like rebellion. But it is a sacred rebellion, because when every room feels too loud, every conversation too fast, and every interaction leaves you a little more depleted than before, it is not your responsibility to keep pretending. You are not here to perform a version of yourself that no longer resonates just to make others comfortable. You are not obligated to match the frequency of a crowd that has forgotten how to be still. If your body is whispering, "Enough," if your energy pulls back without explanation, let that be your truth, even if no one else understands it. You don't have to keep the smile in place. You don't have to explain why the group chat now feels draining, or why laughter suddenly feels hollow. Your spirit knows when the room no longer holds alignment, and the most spiritually strategic thing you can do in that moment is leave. Not with drama, not with guilt, but with quiet clarity. This isn't a failure to connect. It's the honoring of connection with yourself. Because your energy is sacred, and not every space deserves it. Pulling away is not the same as shutting down. In fact, it's the opposite. It's waking up to a deeper intelligence, one that understands timing, resonance, and truth. You are not abandoning your path by choosing solitude. You are clearing the interference that kept you from hearing your next steps. When you stop trying to hold your place in conversations that feel performative, in relationships that feel forced, in dynamics that tug at your nervous system, you make room for something far more real to enter. This is what spiritual alignment looks like in real time. Not just crystals and rituals, but fierce discernment. The ability to say, "I no longer fit here, and that's okay." It is not your job to explain your inner knowing to a world that only values logic. You don't need to justify the intuitive pull to cancel, to go quiet, to disappear for a while. What you are doing is not withdrawal. It is spiritual reorientation. It is the sacred act of turning back toward your own center, the one place where the noise finally fades and the next chapter begins to whisper itself into being. And so, dear one, if you've been feeling the quiet call to step back, to soften your presence in the world just enough to hear yourself again, know that it is not a mistake, and it is certainly not weakness. It is your soul reclaiming its rhythm. It is your intuition guiding you inward, where clarity lives not in the noise, but in the stillness between each breath. I know it's not always easy to pull away when the world expects your constant availability, your constant light. But I also know this: your true light doesn't burn out when you rest. It refines, it deepens, and it returns even stronger when it's honored in silence. You are not falling behind by slowing down. You are not being left out by choosing peace. You are aligning fiercely, beautifully, and deliberately with the frequency of your own truth. Take what you need, trust what you feel. And remember, you were never meant to move with the crowd. You were meant to move with purpose. I'm Luna Celestine, and I want to thank you deeply for meeting me in this quiet space between the stars. If this message resonated, let me know in the comments. You can even drop A or 555 to anchor the shift you're stepping into. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and stay close to the voice within. That's where the real magic begins.